It's like the illest posse cut right here, man. Sean Watts on the track. Zeus, Don One, Rude Boy, Quill, The Gift, and yours truly, Fred Knoxxx. I'm 1 in a million with $1 million flow. Fred DiBiase got the power in it though. If it's a problem, let me know, or I suggest you let it go. Cause it ain't worth the problems that'll be knocking at your door, homie. Please don't make me hurt you. Disrespect the boss, ain't treated like Virgil. Cause when I write raps, it's beyond your price tag. He's a waste of man.
And welcome everybody back to Around the Bloxxx with Mike Knoxxx. And indeed, I am your host, Mike Knoxxx, and I spell my name with 3 X's because frankly, like the GOAT Tom Brady, I am hardcore. People, welcome back to the show the pros listen to, where barbershop talk meets radio. And we're doing some things differently. Shout out to my man Nico Extra. Shout out to what we are doing here in the Florida area, people. Florida Man Radio, the La Spaza Show. And as always, this show is sponsored by and presented by Fox Sports Radio 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia, and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM. And we are broadcasting live on multiple social media networks, as I am here this morning to try my best to give you my opinion. And if you don't like it, listen anyway, people. Know your role, like the shirt say, and shut your mouth. But as always, people, for those who don't know me, I am, again, Mike Knoxxx, and you can find me all over social media by my namesake. I am loud. I speak loud. And in fact, fellas, it ain't my problem if you're not making her get loud on you, but that's not what I do. But as always, people, make sure you follow me, the show that gives you that notification as well, at 1340 AM Fox Sports as well. Listen, guys, a lot to talk with you about this morning as we dive through the week that was professional wrestling. I want to talk about some things today. I need to break down this week in wrestling history. A lot to discuss with you guys in a little bit short a time. And it's going to start off simply like this, guys. Listen, we are on the road to WrestleMania. That is simple. We are on that road to WrestleMania. And when you go on the road to WrestleMania, I want you to come around the blocks with me, your yours truly, Mike Knoxxx, because I got to talk about, I'm different than the people I work with, to be frankly honest. I'm different than my wife who's downstairs right now doing that downward dog thing in her yoga. I'm different than my assistant coaches as I coach Little League Baseball, who may just be a quiet person. I'm in your face and rowdy. And I say that because the Royal Rumble is still being talked about. And what's bothering me the most, what's going on, Chris? Good morning to you, my friend. What's bothering me the most out here is, and thank you for that, for the cool intro, is that people are still, sorry, mama, bitching and complaining about the winner, yours truly, Miss Bianca Belair. So it leads me to, first, before I even get into the week that was professional wrestling, I want to just talk to you a little bit about something about Bianca Belair herself. And in that being said, with Bianca Belair, let's just face it, guys. Is this a road she can go on? Is this a road that's maybe reminiscent of Hogan and Andre's road to WrestleMania, as Sasha Banks could be that opponent for Bianca Belair? What do we want to see next for Bianca Belair? Because frankly, the money is in the bank. And I don't mean that literally, pun not intended. But yes, money in the bank, meaning Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. The EST has been put into WrestleMania, as that's what they're using. So I do ask you, I do encourage you down here, as my man Jeremy Johns would say, comment below, let me know how you really feel about Bianca Belair, because Bianca Belair right now can she be on the course? This is a question we're asking across all our social media networks on Fox Sports Radio 1348, between myself, the Around Da Bloxxx of Mike Knoxxx, the Wrestling Marks of Excellence, and other shows. But I asked you this question: can Bianca Belair be on the course to being the #1 talent in professional wrestling? Now, let me let you know about something. It's like Issa Rae said when they asked her at the Oscars, yo, Issa Rae, who you voting for? Or who you going for tonight? Who you rooting for? Who you want to see win tonight? She said everybody black. So in this Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, I can't lose. But I will tell you this much. I personally don't think that Bianca Belair is on the level of one Sasha Banks. I don't think she is close enough to being Sasha Banks. I don't think she's even closer to being put in the top 7 of the women on that roster. And that leads us back to the Royal Rumble, because some would say in that top 7 in the Royal Rumble, it would be one Rhea Ripley. People were butthurt. People had their feelings in the way. And I want to encourage people to want one thing and learn one thing only as you listen to Mike Knoxxx here, as this is the show for the intelligent wrestling fan. Okay? Why is it intelligent? Because we knew that no matter who out of that Final Four, other than Lana, we didn't care. It could have been the greatest women's wrestler of all time, Charlotte Flair. I wouldn't have cared, okay? But it could have been Rhea Ripley, that Australian broody. Oh, my God, testify, will you, Rhea Ripley? But no, it turned out to be one Bianca Belair. And I just encourage you, if you have not seen her Chronicles on WWE Network, I suggest you do. Because if you can watch that and then cheer against this girl, all right, what's that, a penny on the floor? What's that? Come get, smack yourself in the back of the head because you're insane. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter because, frankly, it could have been any one of the three, and they're going to put on a good show. With that still being said, I do want to hear from you. Comment below. Let me know how you feel about Bianca Belair being a part on this road to WrestleMania. And that is where I want to start today as we go through the week in pro wrestling. This past week, we knew Edge had won the Royal Rumble. We knew Bianca Belair had won the Royal Rumble. We were just hoping to finally get an answer on who actually they're going to go against. So I do inquire and ask you the question. I have to ask you the question. Why must I ask you the question? Because it's a question I must ask you. Who do you want Bianca Belair and Edge to face at this year's WrestleMania? Because all signs pointed to both champions, meaning both winners, if you will, so to speak, of the Royal Rumble, okay, going against Smackdown competitors. Edge, in turn, being against Roman, Spear versus Spear, or Bianca Belair going against Sasha Banks. So I asked the question again. Why do you think this was all put off? Why did we not get our answers on SmackDown? From Edge showing up, he went to NXT, did nothing for the ratings. Edge goes to SmackDown against your tribal chief. Tribal chief gets these piped-in boos. Roman Reigns has not been booed since he's been paired with Paul Heyman. So to fake in these crowd noises of boos is malarkey. It's baloney. And anybody who knows me know I do not like bologna. Trust me, I had it all my life when I was a kid. When I became an adult, like thighs and dark meat, I don't eat them. Except for my wife, that is. But seriously here, guys, why did they not pick? I will be intelligent and try to be and inform you a little bit if I can. And that is simply coronavirus. It's still here. COVID-19. We just saw, let me get him, Oos, come back on Friday Night SmackDown, but he was supposed to be in the Rumble. Why wasn't he in the Rumble? We know we didn't get Keith Lee in the Rumble. We didn't get Mia Yim in the Rumble. There were people, the Rumble, and that's what I got to give with wrestling fans. You got to understand some things here, guys. It's wrestling. It's predetermined. So all your thongs up your arses doesn't do nothing for anybody. But what it can do, what it should do, what it is doing is always having to do decisions on the fly. And if you are, which I know you are, you tuned in to me, an intelligent wrestling fan, then you know, as well as I know, well, frankly, things change. As they're saying with a storyline that's on SmackDown, card subject to change. So have they not pushed that yet because they're, 61 days away from WrestleMania? They still have the Elimination Chamber to come. Why haven't they decided on who's going where? Comment below. Let me know because, frankly, I need to know. I want to know, are we getting Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks? Are we going to get Edge versus Roman. What's the other cases scenarios? Well, one of them out there is obviously from the Wrestling Observer. You know, you guys all follow him. I don't, but you do. You always send me shit. I don't know why you send me stuff. I don't want to know what Dave Metzger has to say. Nothing against Dave Metzger. I never even met the guy. I frankly hashtag death to dirt sheets. I don't care what the dirt sheets say. Why? Because we're on the road to WrestleMania. And the one thing I know that fans have forgot to do is everybody want to be a citizen reporter. What about being a fan? You know what fan stands for? It's short for fanatic, because you're fanatical about things. It's a reason why the Super Bowl is it's big as it is. It's a reason why Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, it's what it is. People, you have to remember this. To be a fan, stop always criticizing every single thing someone does. Okay? And for anybody who thinks that our truth, yeah, I'm talking to you, Vinny Laspaza of the Laspaza Show every Saturday at 2 p.m. Yeah. Who thinks our truth, the 24/7 champion, and Alicia Fox aren't great at what they do? Comic relief will always be in pro wrestling. I don't care if you watch AAA. I don't care if you watch ECW. I don't care if you watch AEW. We put whatever W and E and C in front of whatever niches you want to put in front of professional wrestling, MLW included. You have to have comic relief. It's wrestling because wrestling is storyline. Simply put. Okay. And Chris Harris tries to teasing of the storyline, talking about Bianca Belair and Edge. I also agree with that in a sense, but how long must that go on, as they say, right? So I am curious to know what is next for these two. So it leads us to tonight, which is Monday Night Raw. But before I get to that, just a little quick review for those who didn't watch Wrestling over the weekend, which I don't know why you wouldn't. Edge returned to Smackdown. Bianca Belair appeared as well. Triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Big E. Sami Zayn, who I'm completely over, and Apollo 2, who I don't know what exactly they're doing with him. He was backstage with Heyman and the tribal chief, your tribal chief, Roman Reigns, about a month or so ago. We haven't seen nothing come from that, so I wonder what actually happened with that in itself. And then also on Raw, we got Naomi and Lana, of all people, earning a WWE title tag team women's championship on Monday Night Raw, beating the greatest women's wrestler of all time, Charlotte Flair. Okay, Big and as Beauty and the Beast are your tag team champions. Okay, for those who don't know, that is Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Also on Raw, we got to see the return of Carlito, completely in shape, and the new internet sensation Damian Priest, which I'm not a fan of, but hey, to each their own. And then on AEW, we did have this tremendous tag team battle royal that participated. It was a Private Party, The Acclaim, Top Flight, Jurassic Express, The Dark Order, The Inner Circle. Other men from all these fractions were there. As the Young Bucks and Nick Jackson, they win this. Just overall, these weeks in wrestling, this past week, Tony Schiavone, Darby Allin, and Sting in the ring. To me, the week in wrestling was pretty damn good. But what's most importantly, other than the week in wrestling to me, is exactly what happened, the fallout of these things. We need to see all these things come together. And make sure you come back this afternoon, guys, as I give you and we present to you Belt Kings. You see the championship belts behind the wall, all right? What Belt Kings is, it's a show that's dedicated to wrestling title belts and those who collect them, and the guys that wore them. So if you're a wrestling fan that loves championship belts, you want to see about how to get them, where to get them, best prices to get them at, do we think these are good or not good? And just speak on those belts you want, and the guys, the girls, and also who wore them. Would that be about just afternoon to around 2 o'clock also? But with that being said, cheap pop, but it's not because I pay for it. So, hold on, who are we talking about here? She is not the GOAT. Stop that. Who are we talking about? Are you talking about Charlotte Flair, Chris? Is not the greatest women's wrestler of all time? You're crazy, okay? And I dare you and I implore you to come on this show anytime you want to and debate me with that. But again, there's somebody going to win or lose because it's your opinion and it's my opinion. And you can't change Knoxx's opinion because storyline, Charlotte Flair. Star power, Charlotte Flair. In ring, Charlotte Flair. What doesn't Charlotte Flair do good? I'm waiting. But besides having ass, she may not be aesthetically pleasing. That is it. Other than that, she's the bee's knees, as they would say. So I will not stop that, sir. So with that also being said, guys, I just want a little quick gap stop, if you will. This week in wrestling history was the day I stopped being an Hulkamania fan. I stopped hating and started hating Hulk Hogan from this moment. What moment was that? It was the Mega Powers explode. It saw Randy Macho Man Savage. Oh yeah, can you dig it? The Miss Elizabeth. I mean, to this day, I call every remote control that I have, my fan remote, in my earbuds, Miss Elizabeth. And that dastardly fellow that everybody loves, Hulk Hogan. As I drink that wonderful smoothie my wife made for this morning. I think that's made with oat milk. Not that much of a fan of oat milk, but hey, I still love the strawberries. But Hulk Hogan. I didn't like Hogan until he became the NWO again, when he became Hollywood. But it was in this moment when the Mega Powers explode, because I knew Hogan had lust in his eyes for Miss Elizabeth. And if we were all smart, if we all listened to our parents and Bobby the Brain Heenan, we knew all along that Hogan was a heel. And we learned it later. Boy, what you say? But I'm on a plane flying back to Florida. Let's go then. Bring it on, Jack. Bring it on. Charlotte Flair, greatest wrestler of all time. Don't care what you say. But the Mega Powers explode, guys. And if you remember this, at this time, even when the Mega Powers came together, right? You had at this time, you had Macho Man, you had Miss Elizabeth, you had Hogan coming back. I think he was out shooting a movie or something like that. Hogan comes back, and they need to make this big deal about putting these two together. And we've done this, we've seen this over years after this moment where you see two big single wrestlers, one man power trick, rated RKO. You could continue to go on and on. Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold at some point. Would have loved to have seen Bret and Shawn tag team together. That'd have been freaking phenomenal. But it was in this moment, you see these two teams, probably called the Mega Powers. They were the two biggest entities at this time in the WWF. And to see what transpired, and again, what vantage point did you sit on? Whose side was you on? Clearly, to me, unless you had blinders on, unless you were looking through Stevie Wonder's lenses, you were blind that Hogan was the de facto heel in this moment. But of course, Macho being Macho does what Macho Man does best, and he healed it, and he healed it very well. But it was on this day in wrestling history, or this week rather in wrestling history, the Mega Powers exploded. Also, this week in wrestling history, we got to see, may he rest in peace, Black History Month, Black Wrestler Month, Black Month every day. And that's the Natural Butch Reed. And that one kind of touches home a little bit for me with the Natural Butch Reed, because it's just funny. Those who play video games, WWE 2K games, every time I make my player, my created character, people always say, who is that? Either compare him to Natural Butch Reed or my man Brown. And I just remember the Natural Butch Reed and that blonde hair. And at this time, they're in WCW. He's teaming up with Ron Simmons, a.k.a. Farouk, who don't know who that is. Damn! Okay? And they're taking on the Steiner brothers at Clash of the Champions 10, Texas Shootout. It was mask versus titles, as we find out then that it was the Natural Butch Reed and Ron Simmons underneath the mask as they lost to the Steiner brothers. What a great moment. I remember that like it was yesterday. And just shout out to my dad for making me a wrestling fan. I got some big things on there coming down the pipeline, but I love that. So I want to turn your attention now that was my This Week in Wrestling History moment. But also, guys, we talked about maybe what's next for Bianca Belair. But what is exactly next for Edge, right? All signs, like we said, point to spear versus spear. Is it spear versus spear? Do you want to see Edge versus Roman Reigns? I was assured that with him coming back, we didn't finally see the end of the trilogy between him and Orton, which I guess we got that at the end of Raw last week. They had their match. Sister Abigail, or whatever you want to call her, Harley Quinn, my daughter calls her, Alexa Bliss shows up and boom, changes the narrative of that match and interferes in that match. So it looks like all signs are pointing again towards the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Randy Orton at WrestleMania. here not here, but in Tampa down the road, which I would try my damnedest to be there. At least for one of the nights. Both nights, I don't know. Let's see what happened with the Super Bowl fallout and people being sick and how many people left the building from the Super Bowl. But what's next for Edge? I can't see him going versus Drew McIntyre. I would like to see, because here's the things with wrestling, especially when it comes to WrestleMania. Wrestling will always be comic book. What do you mean comic book? Storyline. Wrestling's a storyline, right? Although sometimes WWE completely fumbles that, fumblerooskies it, fumble-liars it, jumble-liars it, the storylines. It's wrestling storyline. So when wrestling storyline, you have to look into what's the story. Heel versus face. To those who don't know wrestling that well, it's good guys and bad guys, right? And right now in wrestling, it's not many good guys. Wrestling has become a tweener company or industry, shall I say. No one wants to be the face anymore. Why? Because you Americans and you people out there, I said you people, don't like the good guy, right? I don't get that. You hate Superman, but you love Batman. Why? Because one's more gritty. Superman, I beat Batman's ass. Yeah, I said it. Okay. So, but you have to have good guy versus bad guy. And so you get Edge versus Roman because it's heel versus face. It makes sense. I don't want Roman to be the booer. Well, they will boo him in this, but he's still a heel. Roman's a heel. Drew McIntyre is a face. Edge is a face. So to have this, I don't know what they do with this. I think we get more answers towards the Elimination Chamber, maybe tonight on Raw. I don't know, but I know they have to say something. And I don't think they've gone a week on both shows, and at least in some time, and not declared who they're going to go for, which lets me to believe, because they're in that quarterly thing, do we get Roman Reigns on Raw tonight? Let's see. Let's find out. Do we get Roman on Raw tonight? But you have to look at exactly what would be next for these guys. And to me, Sheamus and McIntyre makes sense, right? Since Sheamus now has had some heel qualities. I've always been a Sheamus fan. I see nothing wrong with Sheamus still participating and being a part of this. Why not? Sheamus can go. Sheamus is respected by fans and the people in the backstage alike. So I'm interested in seeing, will they pull that trigger? We also, like I said, when I was bringing up earlier about Dave Mesker in the Wrestling Observer about Brock Lesnar taking on Roman Reigns again. I don't want to see that. And I'm a Lesnar fan. I just don't want to see Brock Lesnar versus Roman again, right? Because I don't want to see any part-timer, and I say that loose. I'm not like most fans. I want a part-timer to participate in the ring longer. With these 5-minute, 10-minute, less than 10-minute matches, counting the intros, that's what wrestling fans are pooping on, okay? Do your duty. He said duty. Do your duty, WWE, and give us a good WrestleMania. Look what happened last year. The pandemic screwed things up. We have all kind of rumors with Rhea Ripley actually had won if it was a Mania match. And it was stolen from Drew McIntyre because there was no crowd and so forth. There will be some semblance, allegedly, up because there's, tickets are on sale, but not on sale. Like you can go to Ticketmaster, you can go to all these ticket places. You can buy some bootleg bot tickets, but tickets haven't officially gone on sale yet for WrestleMania, and they're 61 days away. Why is that? So do your due diligence, WWE, and make this happen. Okay? You cannot go to WrestleMania and have a road to WrestleMania without going around the blocks with Mike Knoxxx. That's just really that simple. Seth does not declare. What do we got here? Chris, still chiming. I love it, Chris. Thank you. All these people watching, but none of you comment. Appreciate it. Seth did not declare who he was fighting for some weeks now. So you know what? That's what that little thing would do to you. I don't remember that. So if that's the case, then cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But I will say this much though. When it comes to that, I need an answer, and I'm trying to remember that Seth Rollins moment. It wasn't weeks. It was maybe like we're going through now. Like we should get an answer this week. It wasn't like a whole month went past. When you say weeks, I think 3 to 4. That's a month time. Maybe 2 weeks would be technically this would be the second week. I do kind of remember that, but we need an answer because it's the road to WrestleMania, and we want to know what the hell we're going to go pay to go see, right? So, and then how does the Elimination Chamber go? What happens next in the Elimination Chamber? Is that, would that be for a title? Will the Elimination Champion then go after the title? A lot of things can be said about this. So, and most importantly is, with all this going on, where is the Fiend Bray Wyatt? How much longer must Bray Wyatt be not a part of the show? Even if he had constructed COVID, which some say was the rumor of why they fired him off of TV, not being fired, but the fire ablaze, as the pyromaniac himself, Randy Orton, set ablaze to him. We haven't seen him since then, but we see glimpses of him. Is that him? Is that his spirit, that looks like it anyway, embodying one Alexa Bliss, taking over her body is him? I love that storyline, by the way. But what's exactly going on with the Fiend? When will the Fiend be back? That's, to me, the most important thing going on right now in professional wrestling. Chiming back in, we got here, Chris. Guarantee Edge will announce it during Elimination Chamber week. Guaranteed? Better case of do on it, Chris. Better case of do. Okay, we might get an answer on Friday. Elimination Chamber week. When is Elimination Chamber, by the way? For a better case to do. Elimination Chamber next Sunday, is it? Because you know how they do pay-per-views and just throw them out there every 2 weeks now. So I like to see that there. Bianca within the next 2 as well. Here's my thing about all this. Just give me the answer, because I want the road to WrestleMania to be a little bit more definitive. I want to know who the tag team champions are. Who will they be? Who will they face? Who will these 2 top champions be? The women and the men's. Okay. Because I think Bianca Belair versus anybody else other than Sasha Banks, like her versus Asuka, waste of time. Okay. I don't like it. I don't think it sells. Shout out to Nico Extra, as he said on Saturday on the La Spaza show, very easy and very simple. That match sells itself. Bianca Belair versus EST. The EST of you put the EST in WrestleMania. Like it speaks for itself. I also think Roman and Edge speaks for itself. Spear versus Spear. I do think that's exactly where they're going to go. So I'm interested in seeing exactly what actually happened, how it actually transpires. But I do want to go ahead and get back into this before we get up out of here, guys. And that is Bianca Belair's road to WrestleMania. Could it be as big as the road to WrestleMania for Hulk Hogan? And that's the question that we're asking your Call Star Network here on Fox Sports Radio 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia, 96.9 FM as well. No, I don't think it couldn't be. Wrestling today will never be as big as it was then. And I know then people thought it would never be as big as it did during the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars. But pops like that, the crowds, they can still pull them off if we were allowed to do those things. However, I don't think she's a bigger star as Hogan in that moment. And I don't think Sasha Banks is as big as Andre the Giant is at that moment. The world is different. The world knew Andre the Giant. The world knew Hulk Hogan. The world doesn't know Bianca Belair. The world doesn't know Sasha Banks. That's the difference. Wrestling fans know these ladies, but the world doesn't know these ladies. So it cannot be and will not be bigger than that road to WrestleMania for Hulk Hogan and Bianca Belair. And I also don't think that she could be the number 1 talent. We talked about before. I put her number 7. I'm going to go Charlotte Flair, the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Charlotte Flair, number 1. I'm going to go Sasha Banks 2, Bayley 3. Just put the 4 horsewomen in there. Nope. Take out Becky Lynch. Take out Becky Lynch and insert Shayna Baszler at number 4 to me. At number 5, I might slide in Becky Lynch because, again, wrestling is storyline. She tells a better story than all the women that are there. Number 6, I would probably put in Rhea Ripley, still in the ring above Bianca Belair. And in my top 10, I would still put the boat Natty. My daughter doesn't think she's that great. My daughter loves professional wrestling and can't stand Natty. I don't understand people don't respect Natalya Neidhart for the greatness in which she is. But those are my 5. That's where women go. So I don't think she could be the number 1 woman in the company, talent-wise. Can she get there? Maybe. It's wrestling. We all know that at any given moment, if Vince wants to, smack that rocket ship to your back and shoot you off to the moon, that can happen. They can change a storyline just like that. Okay, look how fast Shinsuke Nakamura got brought into the fray a couple weeks ago on SmackDown doing a gauntlet matches, and then what happened to him 3 weeks later? They can do what they want to do, and everybody tells me, "Oh my God, WWE trash this story." No, They don't just execute very well. But when they want to put something over, when they want to get someone talking about them, you can't deny that. AEW cannot deny that. No matter if winter's coming or not, cannot deny that. If the WWE wants to be the cream of the crop, they can be the cream of the crop. They just lost a lot of their heart and soul, which are the fans, which are you listening. They do have a lot to fix. And in this COVID pandemic era, what I used to call, the WWE cinematographic universe era that we are in, they can fix this. They need to fix this. It's the road to WrestleMania, right? If you saw the Super Bowl last night, they're going to be in that same stadium. The Weeknd put on a phenomenal halftime show, which means they can do a lot in that stadium that I didn't think they probably could do. That stage that he set with his own $7 million that the Weeknd do to put on that show, I was highly impressed with the guy. I tell you that much right there. I don't see Asuka needing to do anything. I don't see Asuka having a chance at anything in this. Oh yeah, we're talking about in my top 10. Yeah, you're right. Asuka I would have put before Rhea Ripley and putting Asuka in there at 5. And I do put Asuka under Shayna Baszler. I think Shayna Baszler is completely underrated at how great she is in the ring. I truly believe that in my heart and soul, to be completely honest with you. But I will say this much before I go ahead and get up out of here, guys. The road to WrestleMania is here, and we just need to see it, right? We just really need to see it. And then once we see it, once we know where it is, we can go ahead and get excited about it, start planning about it, start enjoying about it. So as I always say, guys, just come around the blocks with Mike Knoxxx on your road to WrestleMania. And this was an impromptu one, right, guys? I normally come here after pay-per-views, after big moments in professional wrestling. It's not a weekly show like everybody comes on here and tells you week. No, that's not what I do, okay? I'm the hit it, quit it kind of guy. Well, not to my wife, but you get what I'm saying. I'm going to get in, I'm going to get out. Because wrestling, it has to be organic for me to want to speak about it. And so after pay-per-views, it's organic. Talking about it weekly is just people trying to get cheap pops, and they're not. Because everybody, mama's, aunties, cousins, Sue, got a podcast about snails. Oh, I got a podcast about potting. I got a podcast about smoking weed. I got a podcast about my auntie's cousin's pot that she keeps in the basement that she uses to wash the babies in. I don't know, but it's too many freaking podcasts out there. So I try to come and hit you with good information, to the core, and just come around the blocks, guys. Listen, later today, like I said, we got Belt Kings Radio, title belts, the people that make them, the designers, the craftsmanship, the weight of them. If you love title belts, this is a show for you. Come join Around the Blocks with Mike Knoxxx later as we do all those things. God, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you. Listen, do me one favor. Do not wake up tomorrow morning and say to yourself, I love me some me, and don't love God, y'all. That's crazy. We better get up out of here, y'all. I'm Mike Knoxxx. We see y'all later, y'all. Peace.
Everybody's got a price. Everybody's gonna pay. But the $1 million man always gets his way. $1 million man.
Yeah. It's like the illest posse cut right here, man. Sean Watts on the track. Zeus, Don One, Rude Boy, Quill, The Gift, and yours truly, Fred Knoxxx. I'm 1 in a million with $1 million flow. Fred DiBiase got the power in it though. If it's a problem, let me know, or I suggest you let it go. Cause it ain't worth the problems that'll be knocking at your door, homie. Please don't make me hurt you. Disrespect the boss, ain't treated like Virgil. Cause when I write raps, it's beyond your price tag. He's a waste of man.